So, let's talk about being broke. If you were to buy a new copy of Payday 2 right now, you would get the Ultimate Edition, or every non-limited edition DLC item in the game. For players who bought it during a past sale, or any point up to the announcement of the 5 million free copies, you're not going to have all those DLCs unless you bought them before, or you purchased the Ultimate Edition bundle now. While the at most $45 investment is totally worth it in my eyes, I owned all the DLC prior to the launch of the Ultimate Edition. Some people just don't have the funds to spend on the game and so have to make do with limited DLC options. Luckily, there's still plenty of things you can do without DLC, so let's take a look at two different builds. And just a quick footnote before we begin, this video will use content from the Butcher mod pack. This was a free DLC awarded to every copy of Payday 2, and while it bears that yellow DLC stamp, it's completely free. You already have it if you own the game. The second thing to make note of is that these builds will require items granted by joining the Payday 2 Steam group. If you haven't done that yet, then I recommend you do that now, as the benefits from joining are immense. So let's start with a dodge build, as they can be kind of tricky to build on a budget. My core skills are ace stoppers, but basic inspire. I'll touch on this one in a second. Basic bullseye to keep my armor up. I'll also touch on that in a second. Aced extra lead and fully loaded for the sake of keeping my ammo count up, and grenades in stock. Aced shockproof, all the silencer skills, and the basic detection skills, and we're acing akimbo with 9 lives. So with basic inspire, I can revive people twice as quick, but I can't do it at range. This is kind of where uppers comes into play, as I can throw a first aid kit down as a lifeline in case it gets shot at while helping a buddy up. And additionally, it's worth mentioning that if your armor breaks, you won't take any additional health damage from whatever damage is left over from breaking your armor, unless it's a sniper. That's why I took Bullseye, as that tiny bit of armor can and will make the difference between a close shave with enemies and certain doom. My primaries are the Akimbo Deagles. Yep, they're back. I gave them a lot of flack in past episodes, but they can do a lot of damage, and they can get underneath 5 detection risk quite easily. I gave them champion suppressors, a concealment boost, micro lasers, bling grips, extended mags, and the long barrels. And these allow me to clean up any enemies that get in my way in just a couple shots. In this build, I would rather have high burst damage instead of low damage over time like Brunetti's. That's also why my secondary is the Parabellum. Again. This thing makes for a great dodge weapon in conjunction with Gun Nut, which puts it at 13 rounds of revolver level damage. A concealment boost and a short barrel are all the additions I need. My melee is El Verdugo. God, that couldn't have sounded whiter. My melee is El Verdugo, which is 1 concealment short of the max for melees, but I'm still at 4 detection either way. I'd rather take high damage over, say, electric brass knuckles, which can be slow and won't kill my enemies, just stun them. That said, take whatever, so long as it hits 31 concealment or more with hidden pockets basic. So this build's a pretty standard dodge build. Communicate with your team, and if they have plenty of first aid kits, take your ammo bag instead. The 1200% additional ammo those 2 bags boast is plenty to share with your team. You can always ask for a first aid kit if you need one. If you can bring first aid kits, that's even better. This build is great for covering your teammates, as your weapons usually take out enemies in just a couple shots. And if you bring first aid kits, uppers will keep them in the fight or let them continue working on objectives quite well. It works quite alright on Mayhem, but I'd only recommend doing Death Wish if you can bring your first aid kits. So what about a non-dodge build? I can't call this an armor build for reasons you'll see in just a bit, but you can still run a variety of perk decks and a variety of builds that fit the description of non-dodge. My core skills this time include Ace and Confident, Jokers, Partners in Crime, and Hostage Taker. Converts are, once again, highly useful tools for keeping fire off your team, and having people tied up will keep my health up. An Enforcer, I take Shotgun Impact, QCB, Close By, all of those aced, and Basic Overkill. Surprise, we're using a shotgun. I also take Basic Bullseye for much the same reason as I took it in our dodge build. I grab every drill skill I can, and then I'm heading over to Ghost for Shockproof Basic and Specialized Killing aced, as well as basic optical illusions in the professional. Lastly, I pick up 9 lives in Swansong because of reasons. My perk deck is Ex-Presidents, a free regen deck that does its job and does it well. Getting kills gives you bonus health, and having your armor break all the way and regenerate moves that bonus health into your main health wheel. This makes it great for builds with high body counts. Speaking of, my primary is the Yzma 12-gauge shotgun. It's a fantastic piece of hardware, and while the Gauge Spec Ops pack turns into a handy dodge tool that dispenses crits by the barrel full, it can still hold its own without any DLC, courtesy of Close By Ace giving it an impressive 22 shells to a mag. I've modded this thing with Triple Up Buckshot, you should have 2 free uses of this without DLC, but it's identical to the infinite use stuff in the shotgun pack, which I'm using here. The Silent Killer Suppressor, the Tactical Russian Rail, the Tactical Laser Module, though an LED combo would more than suffice, especially on darker maps, a Surgeon's Sight, and the Tactical Stock. If you have boosts to use, I'd recommend grabbing an Accuracy Reduction boost. This spreads your pellets out a little more, and since 2 pellets hitting the same target doesn't do extra damage, you mostly want to spread them out as much as possible. This isn't the best you can do with the Yzma, but hey, without DLC, you still have a serviceable piece of Russian hardware. My secondary is the Judge. It's an unstoppable face-melting tool that sees a fair amount of use on 1 down in a minimally modified form. It's just that good. Seriously, go join the Steam group if you haven't. This makes it all worth it. That same free triple op buck, Silent Killer Suppressor, and an LED combo and no sight, just no sight at all. It doesn't need one. Stop. Again, if you have accuracy reduction boosts, 1 would be helpful here to ensure that all of our pellets get more even coverage. This bite-sized boomstick is the game's best and most versatile shotgun, hands down, with or without DLC. And honestly, in a build using whatever DLCs, a Judge modified this way is perfect for most situations. My melee of choice is the electric brass knuckles. Stunning an enemy makes it almost guaranteed they'll surrender, and then we just need to do this twice to keep the team covered. I'm also running incendiary grenades because the damage over time aids in killing special units handily. So how does this build work? Well, darn well, actually. The Judge makes quick work of enemies in a couple hits, whereas the Yzma makes for great crowd control when emptied. Grab your converts as soon as possible, tie down everyone you can, and shred heads on your way towards objectives. If you run low on health, camp out for a moment and let Hostage Taker restore your health, or toss out a grenade, or take some pot shots. Then simply break your armor, hide, and let it come back to heal up. This build works fantastically on Death Wish. And with DLC, specifically the Gauge Spec Ups pack and the Sydney Character Pack, you replace Jokers with Frenzy and take dodge skills, and you have an outright monstrosity on your hands. It's one of my favorite builds to run. I might actually do just a flat-out video on it one day. Heck, I could probably even just do a 2 different builds video with the Yzma. So, there you go, 2 different DLC free builds. The big takeaway here is that while your options are limited, you don't have 0 options. Many DLC weapons got free reskins later down the road, like the White Streak for the Baby Deagle, and with the game opting for an Ultimate Edition, all future content updates save for the upcoming will be completely free, meaning you'll have more options down the road a while after I've uploaded this video. Either way, hope this has been a helpful source of inspiration, and until next time, see you around. If you like this video and you'd like to see more, I'd recommend subscribing. Patreon and social media links are in the description.